All right, there we go. There it is. Misunderstanding mortgage mechanics. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And today we're going to be talking about understanding what people were never supposed to understand, how mortgages actually work. We're going to be breaking it down today. All right. We're going to break it down today for you so that you can totally understand this. So hang out for a minute. Okay, hang out for a minute. We're going to be right back. We're going to start this and start inviting your friends in. Start telling people about it. If you're watching us on Facebook, if you're watching us on YouTube or LinkedIn, start inviting your friends. We're going to be giving some information out here today that you've never seen before at night. This is our nighttime version. All right. So get ready, get started. So that we can actually teach you some things that you were never supposed to learn. Let's get ready. All right. How many in here today? How many of you right here, right now, are interested in real estate investing? How many of you are interested in buying a personal home? How many of you here are interested in paying everything off in about 7 years? Did you know that mortgages are supposed to be paid off in 7 to 9 years with your current budget, not 30 years? Did you know that? We're going to be showing you some things about mortgage mechanics. We're going to break this thing down, the mechanics of how mortgages actually work. And once you learn that, guess what, folks? You're going to find out that we've been taught the wrong thing for a long time. So Destiny, Stephen, I see you there in the audience. If you want to come up to the stage and start asking some questions about this, you can. But if you want to see what we're talking about, you want to go to the link above. Click on that. That will take you to my YouTube channel. And when you get there, please go ahead and subscribe. All right. Subscribe and click that notification bell, because anytime we're on, whether it's our nighttime show or our daytime show on Sundays, Wednesdays, or Fridays, you'll be notified as to when we're going to be here, so you can get this valuable information. But right now, I'm going to be putting something on the screen here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to show you what can happen once you know what's going on with this. So we're going to put this on the screen. All right. So here's a client. Here's somebody who has $631,000 that they owe. $631,000. And the bank wants them to pay $274,000 in interest on this debt, almost $275,000. Okay. But by understanding mortgage mechanics and interest cancellation, they're able to pay this off in about 13 years. Okay. And save $143,000 in interest they never have to pay. Yeah, that part. Okay. Here's another one. Here's somebody who has a $600,000 mortgage. I'm sorry, two mortgages that add up to $600,000. All right, good. All right. So somebody says, I want to see what's going on. All right, but that's quite all right. Okay, that's quite all right. Go to YouTube. Come on in here. All right. You want to see what we're getting ready to show you right now, because nobody's talking about this. Nobody is talking about this. They have two mortgages for $634,000. Okay. Now, if you want to be in Clubhouse and you want to see this, you can go to on a separate device. You can go to a separate phone, get your laptop computer out or your tablet and just go to YouTube and search for P.I.L.L method. Okay. Either way, come on in here and learn something today. Here's two mortgages, ladies and gentlemen, for $634,000. Three other loans adding up to $197,000. And 12 credit cards. What did I say? 12 credit cards for $201,000. What? That's what I said. $201,000 in credit card debt. And it all adds up to $1,033,000. Oh my goodness. And do you know how much interest the bank wants them to pay on that? Okay, let me tell you. Here it is, $692,000. $692,286. But by understanding the mortgage mechanics behind everything, by understanding interest cancellation, not the debt snowball, not the avalanche method, but interest cancellation. Do you realize with your current budget, you can cancel interest to the point where the bank wants 692,000, but they're going to end up paying 179,954 or less? Do you know what your interest rate would have to be to pay only $179,000 on $1,033,000? You know what your interest rate would have to be? It would have to be right here, 1.1%. 1.1%. Now, let me ask you, have you ever seen an interest rate that low? That's their effective interest rate. We don't care about interest rate here. We only care about interest cost. And if you can manage the interest cost, you can get an effective interest rate just like this and not pay everything off in 36 years like the bank wants, but only in 9 years. Can you imagine paying off $1 million worth of debt in just 9 years? Guaranteed? Yeah, guaranteed. Okay, so we're going to get into some of these mortgage mechanics. So let me give a few more examples here. Here's one with a smaller mortgage, 75,000. Okay, 75,918. Two loans for 21,000. A couple of one credit card, only $377. Okay, they only owe $98,000, but the bank wants $40,000 interest on their $98,000. Isn't that crazy? We're going to show them how to pay only $16,000, save them $23,000, and pay off in 8 years instead of 27.9. Okay, so now let me start breaking down how banks make their money. Okay, if you want to know, okay, how many people do I have in here? Okay, all right. If you are watching us on YouTube or Facebook, put something in the chat. Say hi. Tell me where you're from. All right. And so that we can talk directly to you. I see AB in here on Clubhouse. I see Steven. And we're going to start breaking this down. I have a $400,000 mortgage on the screen right now. Okay. And all right. I see you, AB. I see you. I see you. All right. So we have that. Let me get rid of this advertising. We don't need that on here. Okay. 400,000 at 7% because interest rates right around 7% now. But here's the thing. Even though the payment is something they can afford, it's $2,661.21. They can afford to pay that. But let me show you something. On a $400,000 loan at 7%, here's how much interest the bank wants. $558,000. Do you want to pay $558,000 on a $400,000 mortgage? Does anybody? How is that 7%? Negative. You listen, it's not 7%. It's 139.5%. Strong negative, AB says. 139.5%. That's what it really is. You want to see how in the world they can give you a loan for 400,000, not explain how the mechanics work, so that they can turn around and charge you $558,000. They're going to charge you more in interest than you borrowed in principal. How in the world is that fair? How is that fair? So let me show you what they're doing, ladies and gentlemen. Let me give you an idea of what they're doing. I've got to bring a calculator up on the screen, and you can test some of this out for yourself. Okay? Let me show you what they're doing. Okay? And how they are doing it. So first of all, they take your interest rate, which is 7%. So we're going to put in 0.07, or you can put in 7 in your calculator and hit the percent key. Either way. Okay, it's going to be 0.07. They take your interest rate and divide it by 12. When they divide that by 12, look here. Look at this. Divided by 12, and you get 0.0058 and a bunch of threes after that. This is the number that they multiply by your balance to figure out how much interest you pay. So if we take this number and multiply it by the 400,000, okay, 400,000. All right. If we do that, it equals $2,333.33. Look at the very first interest payment on this loan. $2,333.33. So out of the money that they pay every month, which is $2661.21, $2,333.33 is discounted. That means they don't have to pay that. Hey, Ellis, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Don. How are you? I'm driving, so I'll be in and out.
Listen, that's quite all right. Pop in anytime you want. I was looking at another screen. So, folks, here's what you need to understand. Okay. Now, Ellis can show you how to use one of those fancy calculators and do a whole amortization schedule on the calculators, and it will come out to the exact same amount of interest, $2,333.33 in interest on this loan. So it's like, now if you were selling this home, okay, and you wanted to do seller financing, you could finance it yourself, and then they could pay you. So let me ask you, if the payment is on this loan was $2,661.21, how much of that money would you receive, ladies and gentlemen? Even though $327 goes to principal and $2,333 goes to interest, how much of the $2,661.21 would come to you if you were selling this home by seller financing? Okay. How much do you think would come to you? I'm looking for answers. Nobody? All of it. All $2,661.21 would come to you. All of it. Now, how much of that money that you just received actually pays down the loan? Only $327.88 pays down the loan if you were charging 7% interest. Now tell me, if you were selling this home by seller financing, okay, would you like this plan? Would you like this plan if somebody gave you, I said, that's actually, I hear you. But would you like it though? But would you like it? They would give you 2661, but only $327.88 would count towards paying down the mortgage. You would love that. You would love that all day. Now let me ask you something. Let's do something else. Let's do something else. Okay. Hey, Emilio, I need more people up on the stage. So come to the stage. Okay. I need to show you something. I'm going to put the whole thing in the calculator, the payment in the calculator, because we're learning some mortgage mechanics here. Okay. How we have been misunderstanding it for years. So let me put my calculator up. Okay. Where did it go? All right. There we go. There it is. Okay. So I've got my calculator here. Okay. So the payment, okay, is 2661.21. All right. Now, this is how much money you're receiving every month because the buyer is buying the home, but they didn't get a mortgage. You are the bank. You said, nah, don't worry about getting a mortgage. You can pay me. All right. And I'll charge you the 7%. So they have to pay you the 2661.21. But in the first year, what does that add up to? So let's multiply that by 12. So we're going to multiply that by 12. Okay. Delete, 21. Let's multiply that by 12 for a total of $31,934.52. And if you all want to see these numbers, I see you, Katrina. All right. Come on up. All right. How you doing, Bam? All right. So listen, folks, in 1 year, if you were receiving this money, they would have to pay you $31,934.52. Out of that money that the buyer was giving you, how much of that money will be applied to the principal out of 31,934? Here it is, $4,063.23. You get to discount that by $27,871.29. Do you like that? If you're the one selling this, would you like that? Come on, everybody, tell me. Put it in the chat. Put it in the comment section. I see you. All right. Kay said that would be fire. That would be fire. Okay. Now, what if they came they came in here and learned a couple of things in the Creative Acquisition and Wholesaling Club, and they heard my presentation. Okay. Now, let me ask you. We know that we're supposed to pay this loan down by $4,063.23. What if we decided to pay that all up front on line one? What if we did that? I want to show you some things because I'm going to go nice and slow today. Okay, we're not going to go fast. We're going to hit every point. Could we, if we had the money, could we pay them the $4,063.23 all at once instead of 12 monthly installments? Yeah, we could. We would make our regular monthly payment on the very first month and then give them the rest of the $4,063.23. You would have to subtract that from what you owe. So let me put that calculator back up on the screen. We started out with $400,000. Oops. Delete that. We started with $400,000. And we're going to give the bank, we're going to give the owner of the house, the one selling the house, $4,063.23 all at once. Okay. Not over 12 months, but all at once. They would have to subtract that $4,063.23 all at once. That would give you $395,936.77 right here. It's the same amount that's on the amortization schedule on line 12. So let's do a little bit more math. Can I show you some things here? So If we're paid down to here in 1 month, what happens to all of the interest that they would have paid over 12 months? Let's figure it out. So remember in this first scenario here that the total interest paid over 30 years, the bank wants $558,035.60. Okay? But if we give them that $4,063 all at once, we only owe $395,936.77. So why don't we take this number? Okay, we're going to copy that, and we're going to put that in our amortization schedule. We're going to put it in a brand new one. Okay, so we're going to put this in the amortization schedule at the same interest rate. We're going to paste that in there. Okay, we're going to put in the 7% interest rate. All right, we're going to put in the same payment, 2661.21, but we're going to eliminate where it says number of regular payments. We're going to take that out so that the program will calculate the number of payments for us. Oh, look here, 348 payments. That's exactly minus 12 payments. What? Yeah, exactly minus 12 payments. So let's do the math. How much interest did the bank want up front? Okay, so let's put that in our calculator. 558,000. Okay, 558,000. 558. $35.60. Now, that's what they wanted up front. They can't get all of that interest now because we plopped down, for $4,000 all at once. So they can't get all of that interest now if we kept the loan for 30 years. Okay. How much interest could they stand to gain if we made every single payment on time? All right. So let's take a look at the new loan. The new loan says, okay, we're going to, let's see, we need to get this out of here and put this one here. Okay. Here's the new loan. Okay. 348 months. The interest now is 530,164.31. So we're going to do some subtraction. Okay. We're going to subtract from the original amount of interest and this new amount of interest because we have prepaid some of the money. So we're going to subtract 530, 164, and 31 cents equals 27,871.29. That is how much interest we would save. 27,871.29. And if I go back here, ladies and gentlemen, let me show you something. That's exactly the number we have right here. 27,871.29. So let me ask you, since you're not receiving the money, okay, well, let me ask it this way. If you were the bank here and you were doing this on seller finance and they were giving you this money, you would love it if they have given you over $30,000 in a year and only $4,000 counted towards paying down the loan. But what if they came to the class and gave you $4,000 all at once? Then you wouldn't receive all $27,000 in interest. You would only receive $2,333.33 in interest instead of the $27,008. If you were receiving that money, how would you feel? How would you feel, AB, if you were looking to get $30,000 in a year and only $4,000 would count? Now they give you the $4,000 up front, and all the interest you get to discount is only $2,333 instead of $27,871. Folks, does this make sense to you? Are you getting this?
I am great and grateful. I'm here to be supportive, number one. And I invited one of my title guys in Vegas. I need him to hear this. How far into your presentation are you, guys?
I just started 29 minutes ago.
29 minutes ago. He hasn't come into the room yet. He hasn't let me know he was coming or not. When is your next room?
My next room is on Wednesday morning.
Give me a time zone and time.
Time zone is it'll be 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. But you know mine are always recorded. Even this is recorded.
I want to be live, and so he can ask some questions.
Good.
Yeah, so 5 a.m. Pacific, correct, on Wednesday?
That is correct.
Okay, very good. I'll be back then. I'm going to try to make sure he's in the room.
Okay, sounds good, man. Listen, love it, love it, love it. Hey, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
And for you, you have my number. You say, listen, Don, I need you to do a special session just for this guy. And we'll set up an appointment and I'll do it.
Yeah, I want to do it in a live environment.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I want to do it in a live environment round one. And then because he has so many clients in the title world, I need him to see this in a live environment, and then we'll go one-on-one if need be.
Now, listen, you set it up and we'll do it, brother.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
You're so welcome. All right, everybody. So does this make sense, everybody? Does this make sense? The mechanics we never knew. And there's a reason why we don't understand these mechanics, okay? Because everything we've ever been taught, because we don't understand the mechanics, everything we've ever been taught is backwards. I mean backwards. Now, I need for somebody to respond to me, all right? Raise your hand, come to the stage, or put it in the chat, all right? Anything. What do you know? What have you been taught as far as how to handle a mortgage or any other loan? What are some of the best practices that you've learned to save money on how to get a mortgage? What are some of the best things you can do? Okay, I'm going to show you on each and every one where that information actually comes from banking and not from financial experts who are trying to save money. This information comes from banking. So what have you learned? What is some of the best things you can learn about how to handle a mortgage in a way that benefits you? What are some of those things? Give me one. I mean, give me something. All right. And I'll work with you and I'll show you how that actually makes the bank more money. Okay. By getting a mortgage, getting a loan, getting credit cards, anything that has to do with borrowing money, what have you learned that you should do most of the time that's going to save you money? Okay. It says make an extra payment each year. Okay, Katrina. So do you know by making an extra payment each year, the way that they do that is called a bi-weekly payment. Have you heard of that, Katrina? A bi-weekly payment. And when you make a bi-weekly payment, that actually comes up to 13 payments a year. This is how it works. So you divide your payment by 2, okay? And you make the first payment on the 1st of the month and the second payment around the 15th of the month, okay? Is that how you've learned it, Katrina? All right. So here's what we're talking about. If you do that, 10 months out of the year, that saves you no money at all. Zero. Do you know when you give that money, half the money to them on the 1st, do you realize they just hold it until you pay them on the 15th and then they apply that money? So 10 months out of the year, a bi-weekly payment does nothing for you. And a lot of times, if you're on the bi-weekly program, they only let you do it if they can draft your checking account. And a lot of them charge you for each draft. Yes, they're going to draft you, okay, 26 times a year, and 24 of those times that they're charging you, it does nothing for you. Nothing. Now, so Don, how does the biweekly payment actually work then? It works this way. Every 6 months, just like if you're paid biweekly, every 6 months you get that third paycheck and you feel real good about it. I got 3 paychecks in 1 month. When I was getting paid biweekly, I used to love that. All right. So here's what I mean. Okay. So every 6 months, you have there's an extra week. So you would pay them on the 1st, on the 15th, and then another payment around the 30th in the same month. It is that third payment, half payment, that saves you money. And then another 6 months go by, and then you give them another half payment. And those 2 half payments make the 13th payment a year. That's how it works. And Katrina, the most that system can save you is 7 years off a 23-year loan. I'm off a 30-year loan, making it a 23-year loan. Did you know most clients with the P.I.L.L method pay off their mortgages in 7 years and save 23 years? I will repeat that. We pay off mortgages in about 7 years. When the biweekly payment system, or paying 1 extra payment a year, okay, saves you 7 years. So does that sound about right, Katrina? That's how that works. Now, here's the other thing you need to know. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, this is going to be very important. You need to see these numbers. I need you to watch the interest payments here. Every month, they start to go down. Look at here. The first one is $23.33. The next one is $23.31.42. The next one is $23.29.50. The next one is $23.27.56. So every month you pay a little less interest and a little more principal. A little less interest and a little more principal. That way your payment stays the same. You see? A little more principal each time. So if you are going to save a maximum amount of money, do you want to save money towards the front of the loan where the interest is higher? Or do you want to wait 6 or 12 months before you can put money on here and save the smaller interest payments? What makes sense to you? If I was going to save interest, wouldn't I want to save the bigger interest amounts instead of putting money on every 6 months? And then you have to pay 5 months worth of big interest payments when you really didn't have to? How about that? So, Katrina, do you have anything else to ask? I love it when people ask questions. Come up to the stage, everybody. I do not bite. Raise your hand, come to the stage. Let's talk about it. I love it when we can talk. Okay? Come on up. Learn a little bit. And even if you don't talk, people will come in because you came to the stage. Okay? I'm going to invite everybody. I'm going to invite Laura. I'm going to invite AB. I'm going to invite Steven. Lisa, I see you in there trying to hide. I see you. Okay? Come on up. Kurt, I see you, man. Come on up. All right, let's ask some questions. So now we went over. I see you, Laura. How are you doing? Push that unmute button there.
Hello.
Hi there. How are you?
Good.
Are you learning anything tonight?
Yeah. Oh yes. I'm learning, taking my notes.
Listen, do you have a question for me? Because I love when I get questions.
Nothing's come to mind yet. I'm like I said,
Okay.
I'm writing down notes. I'm gonna get you one. Don't worry.
All right. Well, listen, you just hang in there. You just hang in there. So now we're going to break this down a little bit further. All right. So now we have learned that if I'm going to attack this loan, I need to attack it sooner as opposed to later. Let me show you why we need to attack it sooner. Okay. Do you see these principal payments, 327 and 329? We're going to break this down a little bit further because this is a 7% interest rate. A 7% interest rate. And we have been taught we should try to get the lowest interest rate we can. And some people are sitting on the sidelines. They could afford a house now. They could. I'm not talking about the ones who can't. I'm talking about the ones who can. They could afford a house now, but everybody's saying the interest rates are too high. The interest rates are too high. Is that what you guys are hearing? The interest rates are too high. And I'm here to tell you that the high interest rates actually work better for you. Now, I'm not going to tell you how they work better unless I get some number nines in the chat or in the comment section. If I don't see a number 9, I'm not showing you why the 7% interest rates work better. I'm not going to tell you. Lord said, she rushed that number 9 in there. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else want to join her? Okay. Put that number 9. Okay, Katrina, I see you. Okay. Now, I hope you're watching this. All right. And since Laura is on the stage, Laura, can you see these numbers? Let me know if you can see the numbers. Okay. If you want to see the numbers, go to YouTube so you can see these numbers, ladies and gentlemen, because if you're not seeing the numbers, it doesn't make sense. Okay. You want to see the numbers. All right. We have some new people that just came into the room. We're teaching mortgage mechanics here and how to beat the bank at their own game, how we were never supposed to understand how this works. So now, folks, I need you to see, because of the high interest rate, the principal payments are tiny, $327.88. Let's pretend that this is January's payment. I just made January's payment. I can now see, by looking at this amortization schedule, I can now see February's principal payment. February's principal payment is $329.79. So let me ask you, if I made January's payment and I can see that February's principal payment is $329.79, do I have to wait till February to give the bank that money? The answer is no. If I had it, I could give that money to them in January as well. If I give it to them in January, do you know, since I've already paid interest for January, all right, hey, El Faber, come on now, okay? Show us what you got. Let me see. Let me put this on the screen. You go, Don. All right, listen, I received that. Okay, thank you so much for that. All right, so if we go ahead and pay this $329.79 early, we have to subtract that from what we owe, and we're paid down to the principal balance on line 2. We're down to $399, $342.33, and our next mortgage payment for February is actually on line 3 of the schedule. We skip right over line 2. By giving the bank that money early, we skip right over line 2 and go directly to line 3 on the amortization schedule. In other words, we have gone from 360 monthly payments to 359 monthly payments. Okay, good stuff. Now, what about the interest on line 2? The interest on line 2, $2,331.42. That has been canceled. You never have to pay that. You just eliminated $2,331.42 of interest that the investor who bought your mortgage will never get from you. How about that? Isn't that good stuff? And that's all because of the high interest rate and the small principal payment. Now, there are some of you that may buy down the rate to get a 5.5. Can I show you the same mortgage at 5.5? All right, where it will not do you as much good. Now, if I can afford the 7, no one can even give me a 5.5% interest rate. I won't take it. If I can afford the 7, I'm not taking 5.5, even if somebody buys down the rate. Not doing it. We'll talk about that in a minute. Because of mortgage mechanics, because of how we misunderstand it, we make a lot of mistakes because we are taught to make those mistakes. Okay? All right. So anyway, listen, folks, I need you all to see this. I need you all to see this. Watch this. All right. All right. I see you, Meredith. Thank you very much for watching. All right. So here's what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this. So if we give the bank the payment on line 1, what if we did this? What if we did this? We give them $329.79. Also, out of our bank account, maybe we have a few extra bucks in the bank. We could do $331.71 in the same month and give them $333.65. Okay, a little over $1,000. Now, that money that I'm talking about is sitting in a bank account making about 0.1%. So we take that money out, okay, and apply it to mortgage principal. Do you know we just eliminated the interest on line 2, line 3, and line 4, and our next mortgage payment for February is now on line 5. Look at that. We are squeezing this amortization schedule. Payment number 1 is now touching payment number 5 if we do that. And we just saved over $7,000 in interest we never have to pay the bank, all because we gave them about $1,000. Folks, that's about a 7-to-1 return on your money. 700% return on your money. Where else are you going to get that kind of return? Do you see what I'm talking about when I said mortgage mechanics? The mortgage mechanics that we have been taught keep us broken down. They keep us broken down for 30 years when we could easily pay these mortgages off in 7. Okay? So now let me show you why. Can I show you? Let me show you why the mortgage mechanics are taught the way they're taught. Okay? All right. Ken, what are you doing, man? What are you doing in the audience? Huh? Ken, what are you doing in the audience, man? You know better. What's up, brother? You doing all right? He may be at work and can't talk to me, but that's okay. All right. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. You watch it.
What's going on, Ice?
Man, listen, we're cooking over here. We're cooking with grease. Hot grease.
I'm just seeing the notification.
Okay, you do that, brother. You do that. Now, all right, so here's what I need you to see. Here's why when you get a mortgage, soon after you get your mortgage, within 1 to 2 weeks, that mortgage is sold to an investor. That investor does not want you to know true mortgage mechanics. They want you to learn the mechanics that keep you broken for 30 years. And here's why. When you make this first mortgage payment, okay, when you make this first mortgage payment, and it's $2,661.21, $2,333.33 is discounted from that mortgage payment, so only $327.88 counts to pay down the mortgage. Let's do the math. All right, let me bring up my calculator, put it back on the screen. Okay, our first interest payment is $2,333.33. We divide that by our total mortgage payment. Okay, Now, this is just principal and interest. This does not include taxes and insurance. So we're going to divide it by our principal and interest, or by 2661.21. So we're going to divide it by 2661.21. Look at that. Equals 0.876. So this 7 has to be rounded up to an 8. In other words, 88% of this payment is interest. 88%. Let me put it another way. 88 cents out of every dollar you just put towards your mortgage went up in smoke because it went to the investor. And you're paying down the mortgage with only 12 cents out of every dollar. Do you see why they give us the broken mechanics and they rely on the real mortgage mechanics where they get 88% out of every one of your dollars? Lord have mercy. In other words, look at it this way. Every single month you make a mortgage payment, you're gaining equity. 300 and out of your 2661, a little over $300 every single month, you're gaining equity. Look at that. But it costs you $2,333, $2,331. This equity cost you over $2,300. I see you, Richard. Richard says, wow, look at that. I see you, Richard. I see you, El Faber. I see you. Now, I need you to see this. If it costs you to get this equity in your house, over $2,300 each month to get $300 worth of equity, what if you make your mortgage payment and you give them this equity, you give them this money early? You give it to them early, they can't charge interest. Anytime you choose, I need you all, listen, I'm looking straight into the camera now because I need you to see everything about this. Listen to me. Every time you choose to give the bank money when they're not expecting it, no matter how much it is, whether it's $1 or $300 or $500 or $1,000 or $10,000, whenever you choose to give them money, it makes it impossible for them to charge you interest. That part. Impossible to charge you interest. So if you give them this $329 early, you get that equity for free. What? I need you to take a look at cumulative principal right now. I need you to take a look at cumulative principal. If you give them this $4,063.23 early, okay, then you get this practically for free. You only have to pay $2,300 in interest instead of $27,000. You just got that interest. You just got that equity for $25,559 off. You just got a $25,000 discount for giving them the $4,000 early. I need to ask this question, everybody. I need you to listen to me because I got to ask it. If you have $4,000, does it make sense to give the bank over $30,000 just to pay your mortgage down by $4,000? Then if you had the $4,000 up front, you could give them the $4,000 up front and not pay them the $27,000? Is there any reason whatsoever? Is there any benefit? If I'm only going to get $4,000 worth of equity, is there any benefit to give the bank $27,000 to get it? Can anybody help me to see that? I've been asking that for years, even to real estate investors. And this is primarily a real estate investing room. I'm just coming in to make sure that the real estate investors can make a lot more money. And you who are not real estate investors, you can save a ton of money. The amount of money you can save by not giving it to the bank, and you choose to invest it. I see you, Meredith. I see you. And you chose to invest that money. Do you realize you can become a millionaire with the money you did not give the bank if you invested? Can I show you? Can I show you a couple of examples? Okay. Let me show you this. Here's one. Here's one. Okay. They have $1 million in debt right now. They're supposed to pay the bank $692,000 in interest. They're only going to pay $179,000 in interest. That saves them $500,000 in interest that they don't have to pay the bank. And then if they take that money and not just spend it but invest it, do you realize they can turn it into another $4 million? The money that they didn't give the bank. Oh my gosh. Okay, Faber, what are you saying to me? I think those gurus that want people to eat beans and listen. I know who you're talking about, but that's okay for me to mention Dave Ramsey. You can mention Dave Ramsey on this show, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because Dave Ramsey has said that, he says I'm a nut. He says it's on his show. So we can mention Dave Ramsey's name. Okay. In fact, why don't I play that for you while I get a drink? So that's a good time to take a break since you brought that up. Okay. Since you brought it up, let me find that video for you. I'll play it. Okay. And I'll get a quick drink of water. Okay. Here we go.
Good.
So I am more of like a future planner. Like, I don't like to think just like, where are we going to be in 5 years? Like, I'm thinking more about the mortgage when my husband graduates, because we'll have a much larger income.
Mm-hmm.
And I have heard a lot about like prepaid interest or prepaid principal.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really understand how that works. Like, I was watching the P.I.L.L method, and then he was talking about taking out loans, and I was like, this guy's a nut. So I just stopped listening to it.
He is a nut, yeah. Did you hear that? So yeah, it's okay. It's okay for us to mention Dave Ramsey, because the P.I.L.L method was mentioned on his show, and he called me a nut. So do you think he knows who we are by now? He didn't ask who is that. He didn't ask who's the P.I.L.L method. He didn't ask who are you talking about. He said, yeah, he is a nut. Meredith said, wow. Okay, Meredith, I see you. Listen, we've been doing this a long time, ladies and gentlemen, telling the truth about how these loans work. Okay? And listen. So says, no, you're not, Don. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So listen, folks, when you talk about like the debt snowball or the avalanche methods to attack these debts, do you think you can pay the loan off faster and cheaper by using the debt snowball like Dave Ramsey says? The answer is yes, you can. You just don't know that how much interest you can save. You just don't know that system is very inefficient. Very inefficient. Very inefficient. Can I give you an example? Okay. Can I give you an example? Let me give you an example of what we're talking about. Okay. So I'm going to give you a quick example here. Okay. Let's put this on the screen. I'm going to put in another amortization schedule. Okay. And I'm going to put in, that's the Sabbath school lesson. Can't put that on there. Hold on. Okay. There we go. Brett Whistle. All right. So watch this, everybody. Okay. We're going to put in a $10,000 credit card, a $10,000 credit card, right? Okay. At a whopping 27%. Now, when you use Brett Whistle and you put in a credit card balance, you have to put in 240 months because all credit cards are amortized over 240 months, not 360 months. Okay. So every one of these experts are saying if you owe $10,000 on a credit card at 27%, are they calling you crazy? Are they saying you're nuts? Are they saying you need to pay this off? What do you guys think? Are they telling you to pay the $10,000 off because it's at 27%? Are they telling you that? Yeah, they are. Let me show you something. Now, I'm going to ask a question. If you have this $10,000, you just put this on your credit card and you pay it off before the bill is due, do you pay any interest? Yes or no? If you pay it off before the bill is due, do you pay any interest? Okay, I want you to think about it before you answer. You just put $10,000 on, but you pay it off before the bill is due. Do you owe any interest? The answer is no. Okay, Katrina, you're right. Okay, you don't owe any interest. Okay, now that's what people try to do. Do you know how many people come to me and say, Don, I never pay credit card interest. I never pay credit card interest. These are the mechanics we have been taught. These mechanics. Pay those credit cards off. Pay those credit cards off. The interest rate is high and it's killing you. Can I show you the interest cost on this loan? This is a good opportunity to learn interest cost instead of interest rate. Are you ready? Interest cost instead of interest rate. Okay. Interest cost. Here's the interest cost on this loan, on this mortgage. So let us calculate and look at the interest only payment. Okay, it's right here. The interest payment is $225. So if you pay this off before it's due, you're saving the $225. That's it. They will have you thinking that $10,000 at 27% is a huge number. But folks, when they don't teach us the mechanics, we don't do the math to figure out how much interest that really is in dollars and cents. We never do the math. Nobody talks about that. So if I pay off the $10,000 before it's due, I can save the $225. That's okay. But can I show you that the same people who have this mortgage, $400,000 at 7%, they pay their credit cards off every single month as well. Okay? But if they put $10,000 on their credit card, they're paying the credit card off first. But if they take that $10,000 and put it on this mortgage, I need you to see cumulative principal here. I'm not saying don't pay off your credit cards fast. I'm just saying we have to know the difference between interest rate and interest cost. They look at 27% on a $10,000 loan and they say that's a bad thing. That's evil. But this 7% on this 400,000 is okay. No, it isn't. So if I put $10,000 prepay, if I take Visa's 10,000, Visa says I spent $10,000 of Visa's money. I admit I spent it. I'm going to pay it back. Okay. But instead of giving all $10,000 to Visa this month, I'm going to take the money I owe Visa and put it on this mortgage and look at cumulative principal till I get down to $10,000. Look here. I knocked 29 months off this mortgage. And how much interest did I just save, ladies and gentlemen? $66,000 with Visa's money. Now, let me ask you this question. Ladies and gentlemen, is it okay if I paid Visa $225 so I could use their money to save 66 grand on my mortgage? Come on, Dave. What are you teaching the people? Okay, Dave Ramsey. All right, folks. I got to take this. I'm getting a phone call from my wife. Hold on for just a second. Hey, honey, I'm doing a show right now.
Oh, okay, bye.
Bye-bye. All right. See, it's okay, ladies and gentlemen. It's okay to say I'm busy. It's just not okay to say, not answer the phone. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. I have to answer that phone. Oh, that's my sweetie. That's my sweetie. All right. I have to let her know I'm okay. But anyway, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to know the truth about these things. How are you doing, Deshaun? Okay. All right, Coca, how are you doing? If I'm pronouncing your name right, I hope so. Listen, if you all want to come to the stage and learn some mortgage mechanics, ask me a question about mortgages or credit cards or how to pay them off. But I'm telling you, everything that we have learned is backwards. Can I tell you another thing we should never do? Never put a large down payment on a loan. Just don't do it. Never put a large down payment. Only put the minimum down you have to put down to get into the loan if you can afford the payment. If you can afford the payment, put the least amount down. I had a guy who had a mortgage similar to this. He had an extra $100,000 to put down. He says, you know what? If I do this, Don, I could take my $100,000, okay? I could put it on here and I could avoid PMI. And I can have a $300,000 loan for 30 years. So let's do that. So we're going to put in another, and duplicate this tab. Okay. So we're going to put in 300,000 at 7%. And we're going to do a little comparison. So this is what he was telling me. 300,000. The payment is $1,995. Okay. Instead of $2,661. Okay, that's over $600 saved every month. Ooh, look at that. We love that. Okay, $600. I love saving that. And if we take a look at the interest that the bank wants over 30 years, but if you use the P.I.L.L method, they're not going to get all that interest anyway. You got 558. Okay, that's at 7%. And on 300,000. It's only 418, so it's a lot less. Okay, so are you surprised to hear me say I recommend getting the $400,000 loan for 30 years instead of the $300,000 loan for 30 years? So if I get the $400,000 loan, where's my $100,000, ladies and gentlemen? Where is my 100 grand if I get the $400,000 loan? Can anybody tell me? Where's my 100,000? I didn't use it as a down payment, so where is it? Okay. Nobody wants to say? Faber, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? Stop it. I see you. Okay. I still have my $100,000 in the bank. If I wanted to. Now, I probably wouldn't recommend it. Okay. But if I was going to put it down so I could avoid PMI, okay, as a down payment, I still have the $100,000, right? Could I put it down as a prepayment on this loan? Can I show you what $100,000 would do to this loan? The same $100,000 they were going to put as a down payment. Okay. The same $100,000 they were going to put down as a down payment. Let's use it as a prepayment after the loan closes. Watch this. We're going to scroll down till we see $100,000. Oh my gosh. Look at this. 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 $100,000 knocks off 176 payments off this loan, number one, and saves $368,000 in interest, number two. And number three, we still have a $300,000 loan. Look at that. I knocked off almost 15 years off this loan with that $100,000. If I had put it as a down payment, I would have started a 30-year loan on payment number one. If I use my $100,000 as a prepayment instead of a down payment, I knocked nearly over 14 years off this mortgage. I nearly cut it in half by putting $100,000 down. Okay, so but down. What about the PMI? Yeah, well, it's only a slight problem. It's only a slight problem. I do have to pay PMI for 1 month. Because once I put that $100,000 down, I can apply to take it off. Which way is better? Down payment or prepayment, ladies and gentlemen? I got a question here from YouTube. Here it is. Question. We're putting it on the screen. Question. We have some extra money, like $150, to pay along with our regular payment. What are your thoughts? Because it's not quite enough to skip to the next line, but that's okay. You don't need to skip to the next line. Okay? You don't need to skip to the next line. But here's the thing. The question is, are you saving the most per dollar? So I'm just giving some basics on mortgage mechanics. I'm not teaching anything about the P.I.L.L method this week. Okay? The P.I.L.L method are AI, cloud-based computing platform, will tell you exactly how much to pay and when, so that you can save the most per dollar, all right? But if you want to put that $150 on, you could. Let me make this a little simpler, okay? Faber, okay? I'm going to show you something. I'm going to put a different mortgage in here, okay? I'll put a different one in here. We're going to put in 200,000. Okay, and we're going to do this with you. 200,000 at 6% for 360 months. Okay, there we go. And the payment is $1199.10. $1199.10. That's the question. There it is. Okay. Now, if I prepay this, okay, $200, I save about $1,000 in interest. And this is why I'm using this, because it's easy. Okay, it's easy. All right. All right. So, we're going to put $200 on and save about $1,000 in interest. All right. So what if I don't have $200? What if I cut that in half and I put $100 on? So I don't save $1,000 in interest. How much do I save? I save half the interest. That's $500. So, Faber, if I put $100 on and I save $500 in interest, is that still worth it? Is that still worth it if I do that? Okay. Now, I don't have $100 anymore on this mortgage. I'm going to cut it in half again. I only have $50. Okay. I only have $50. I'm going to put it on there. And now I'm saving $250 in interest. Wow. Still worth it? Still worth it. I don't have $50. I only have $25. $25 prepaid on this mortgage saves me $125 in interest. How about that? You see, it's worth it. See, when we put money on the mortgage, we're taught to look at the principal balance. $25 doesn't even make a dent in this doggone mortgage if I look at the balance. But it means something. If $25 would save me $125 in interest, you better believe it. You better believe it makes a difference. This is the mortgage mechanics we should be learning. But the mechanics that we've been taught keep our car broken down. keep our mortgage broken down because they're not teaching us what's really happening. This is why we do what we do here on this show, ladies and gentlemen. We have a show here, 2 live shows a week on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Monday's a live show at night. Wednesday is a live show during the day. Okay. So come back on Wednesday, because Wednesday, can I show you Wednesday's show? Oh my gosh. You don't want to miss Wednesday. All right. Let me put that up on the screen. Okay. Here's Wednesday's show. It's kind of a continuation of last week's show. Okay. Here it is. This ain't DIY. Okay. This ain't DIY. This thing, I'm going to break down how hard it is to figure this all out on your own to save the maximum amount of interest. This is why you need a computer system to do all of the math. We're going to get into factorial math. We're going to talk about critical point analysis. We're going to talk about how to figure out the right amount of money to put towards the debt and the right amount of money to put towards wealth creation. So this ain't DIY. I can give you some stuff here that we do for free. But if you want to save the maximum amount of interest so that you're not giving the bank more interest than you need to, any other program, Dave Ramsey's program, Susie Orman's program, any other program that doesn't focus on saving you interest, even though it gets you out of debt faster, on average, you will pay $50,000 to $75,000 more in interest than you need to, because their programs do not focus on interest savings. They focus on how fast you can pay off the small debts and feel good about it. Saving tiny amounts of interest where your big interest cost is going untouched for years, paying extra money when you don't have to. Man, I tell you, continuing to teach that is criminal, if you ask me. Teaching people to pay off loans that cost $200, paying off loans that cost $83, paying off loans that cost $25 in interest, when we have mortgages that are costing us over $2,000 a month interest. And we need to feel good about the fact that I paid this off early. And nobody's pointing out that it's costing me an extra $75,000 in interest I could be investing in my family by not paying attention to the interest cost. Nobody else is teaching that. Why is that, ladies and gentlemen? Why is that? Because we've all been bamboozled. We've all been bamboozled. We just don't know. Nobody taught us. Nobody taught Dave until he saw my videos. But Dave he's got so much time and money invested in his program, teaching people the debt snowball. He can't change it this late stage. He can't change it. Anybody heard of Nikola Tesla? Okay. Edison was providing electricity to thousands. Okay. It was direct current. And it couldn't push direct current very far. So you had to have substations all over the place to make sure everybody in the area could get electricity. Okay. So they can have their electric lights at night. So Nikola Tesla came along and said, if it was alternating current, AC instead of DC, it could go a lot farther and you don't need all these substations. Well, Edison said, I've got so much money invested in this. I ain't changing now. We're going to keep the DC. So you can keep your alternating current, Nikola Tesla. Okay? Don't come in here with that. Can't hear that. We're not changing this horse in the middle of the stream. It costs too much money to change. David isn't changing today, ladies and gentlemen. He's not changing. You know, can you blame him? He's got too much invested. I get it. But anyway, that's what we're talking about. So you don't want to miss next week. So just to show you that even people with a lot of money need what we have, let me show you somebody who has a lot of money, okay, who can command up to $150,000 an hour just to speak. Okay, that is the number one motivational speaker in the entire world. His name is Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip hop preacher. Let's hear what he has to say about the P.I.L.L method right now.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
So did you see that ice10k.com? That's where you need to go. If you want to know, just like ET, you want to pay your mortgage off in record time, your credit cards, your car loan, your student loans. Did you know you could be completely out of debt in an average of 7 to 9 years? That's everything, not just the mortgage. In an average of 7 to 9 years, just like ET. So go here, put this back on the screen. Okay, go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com. That's ICE. You can see it crawling across the bottom of the screen. Go to ice10k.com and get a savings and earnings report. Scroll down under ET's picture, click on the button that says get a savings and earnings report. Fill it out, folks. It's complimentary. We will not charge you. You can know the month, day, and year you can be debt-free. The month, day, and year you can be debt-free. There you have it. Okay? Why continue to operate in darkness when you don't need to? Go to ice10k.com and get your savings and earnings report for free. Okay? And then if you like our program, I guarantee you, whatever you invest in our program, we will not recommend it unless you can get 10 times your investment back in interest savings. At least 10 times. It's going to be more than that, but it's got to be at least 10 times your investment, or we will not recommend it to you. Okay? So you never have to worry about what it costs. We're going to save you a ton of interest. You never have to pay the bank. And it's the money that used to go to the bank that's actually going to end up paying for your program. So who really pays? Is it going to be you? Or is it going to be the bank when they don't get all that money? All right. Well, listen, folks, I'm checking around for other questions. I've done what I wanted to show you today. I wanted just to show you some of what we're getting ready to get into Wednesday's show, where we're going to break down how you can save all this money. You can optimally save. We're going to get into how all of this works. All right. We're going to get into more about the P.I.L.L method on Wednesday. So let me put this on the screen for you. Okay. So our show Wednesday is This Ain't DIY. You can pay off your mortgage faster by yourself. You can pay off your student loans faster by yourself. You can pay off everything faster by yourself. But here's what you can't do. You can't save the optimum amount of interest that's mathematically possible. You will pay $50,000 to $75,000 more in interest on average, but most will pay more. On average, $50,000 to $75,000, but most will pay more than that, even though they're paying off their loans faster. They're just not paying attention to interest cost. You can't optimize what you cannot measure. Again, if you know somebody who's an engineer, you ask them. You may be married to an engineer. You can't optimize what you cannot measure. And we've been taught all of these years not to measure our interest savings or even our interest consumption. How much interest are you consuming each month? We're not even taught to add it up. We're taught to overlook it, to keep paying it to the bank. We're stuck in this system where we don't understand the mechanics. By not understanding the mechanics, then we pay more than we need to pay. But next, on Wednesday, we're going to get into this, why this isn't DIY, why it isn't do it yourself. You need coaching to help you if you want to pay off your loans as cheaply as possible. You need a computer to do it because of all the math that's involved. We're going to be talking about critical point analysis. We're going to be talking about factorial math and what that means and how many different choices there are when it comes to paying off your loans. We've been told there's only like 2, 3, or 4. That's it. No, there are thousands. And one of those thousands of ways is more efficient than all the rest. It takes math to find it out every single month what to do. And we're going to get into how that math works on Wednesday. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for showing up tonight. Okay. All right. Let me get things rolling over here. Okay. I want to thank you for showing up, and I want to give you an applause. Okay. There you go. That's for you. All right. Thank you for showing up, everybody. Thank you. I appreciate it. Listen, we're going to be back here on Wednesday. Don't miss. So if you can't be on Wednesday morning show, make sure you get to catch the rebroadcast. It's going to stay up the whole time. Once it gets up, you know. Okay? You know what the picture to look for. Laura, thank you for being here. All right? Stephen, thank you for being here the whole time. Katrina, okay? Listen, AB, you are awesome. Okay, you've been here the entire time. Now, watch my videos on YouTube. Okay, invite others to watch the videos. Now, how would you like it? How would you like it to invite people? I see you, Faber. How would you like it to invite people to the videos and get paid? Anybody up for that? Okay, go to ice10k.com. All right, let's go back. Hit the back button. Go to ice10k.com. and look at the bottom of the screen. Become an affiliate. Fill that out, okay? Fill that out and contact our office, and we'll talk to you about how you can share the videos with others, okay? And when they want to know more, we'll teach you how to send that information to us, and when they become a client, we'll pay you, okay? Anywhere from $300 to $3,000 a month can be earned just by sending people to the videos. You don't have to sell anything. Send them to the videos. When they want to become a client, we'll pay you. Okay? Go, all right, become an affiliate. Fill that out today. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We're going to get out of here. It's getting kind of late, and I'm going to head on home. Oh, no, I can't. I have one more meeting. Okay? Got a young lady that just came on board, and she's going to be paying off her mortgage in record time. Listen, folks, I'm so proud of her. She's only 26 years old and has her own house now. Isn't that wonderful? And she's learning this early. Oh, man, we got to give her a hand. 26 years old, has a house and a business and a job And listen, hardworking young lady, and she's learning the P.I.L.L method so she can be out of debt in under 10 years. It is amazing. So let's do that, ladies and gentlemen. Watch the videos, tell other people about it. We're on TikTok as well if you like the shorter videos, and Instagram. So follow us all there. And all of our social media is on my digital business card, ice10k.com. It's right here. My website, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok, right there. So follow us on all of our social media. Tell everybody about us. Like and share our content. Join our community on YouTube. I need you to subscribe, okay? When you hit that subscribe button, that helps us out so very much. All right? Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting ready to get out of here. I don't see any more questions. Thank you, El Favor, for being here. I see you, Troy. Okay, Troy had one more question. And this payment can be made anytime throughout the month. Yes, Troy, you can make it at any time throughout the month, but with the P.I.L.L method, the P.I.L.L method will tell you exactly what day to make the payment so you can save the most interest. Okay. But if you're not using the P.I.L.L method, yeah, any day during the month before it's due, even if it's the last day of the month before it's due, you kill that interest for the next month. How about that? I love that whole thing. All right. I love what I do. I love teaching this. I hope you got something out of it. We're getting ready to get out of here. We'll see you. Okay. We'll see you on Wednesday. So take care of yourself, everybody. Have a good evening.